Welcome to our January edition of Let's Get Growing. Make sure that you water before freeze and keep those interior plants in the sun. We're mowing grassy weeds this month and also your cool season grasses, and make sure that you're adding that to the compost pile. It's great nitrogen. Continue the major pruning of your trees. Great time to get the mistletoe out. Remember, you're going to take off dead and diseased wood, anything crossing and rubbing, and open the middle up. If you need to get on a ladder, you need a professional. Now here's a list of plants that are going to need dormant oil sprayed on them. Red oak, pecan, crabapple, euonymus, holly, and your camellia. And if a serious infestation exists, this is going to cure it for you. And then once again in January, fertilize those winter annuals. Mulch your bare soil. It acts like a blanket and will keep it at least 20 degrees warmer and keeps the moisture in. And it also will reduce those winter weeds. Plant trees and shrubs this time of year because they're on sale and they grow during the winter, putting out roots and ready to pop those leaves in the spring. This is the time that you'd want to prune your summer blooming shrubs, but not your spring blooming shrubs, like forsythia and some of these others that you see on the list. They will be blooming in the spring and you'll be cutting off their blooms if you prune now. So you can do crepe myrtles. Do not commit crepe murder. We just want to prune them like a regular tree. We don't need to top them off. It doesn't promote blooming, but it will cause very, very bad growth structure. But remember, prune them correctly and you'll have beautiful spring blooms and summer blooms. And don't forget, feed the birds. I wanted to explain and talk about plants that you receive from the florist, or maybe even at the grocery store. If you'll notice, it has no hole in the bottom of this container. In addition, it was being grown in an interior environment where you can see it got a lot of sun down here, and then it got into an area where there was no light, hardly whatsoever. And so the plant had to elongate in order to pick up more light. There was a lamp right over this which allowed this palm tree to grow and this English ivy. But this over here was a kalanchoe, which is a succulent. So you have a succulent, you have a palm, you have jew, and you have ivy all growing in the same container. Beautiful when you first get it, and then starts to decline. Different light, different water needs for all of these. So we're going to split them so that they grow on. The first thing that you're going to do is remove it from the container, which it's been in here long enough that it should come out in a hole. This is a decorative material called Spanish moss. It grows out of the trees in Louisiana and other very moist areas. So we're going to take it and get it out of the picture. And then we're going to start to divide this into the different plants. Now this is the jew. And this actually can be grown outside and would have very beautiful dark pink color. And we're going to take that and put it into a 6-inch pot. So we've added a little soil to the bottom because you can tell it needs to be propped up a little bit. And then just gently put some soil in it and firm it into the container. Nestle, nestle. And then we are going to hit a little cutting that fell off. And all we're going to do is, you can see, this is called a leaf node at the very bottom where the leaf comes off. We just want to make sure that we bury that, make a little hole, we stick it in, and we cover it up. Now the next most important thing is to water this little baby and give it some more sunlight and It will be a beautiful plant for you this spring. The next one that we're going to remove is this palm, because it's going to reach a height in the house of about 4 feet. And you can see how extensive the root system already was. Now we don't want to put it in too large of a container, so we're going to just put it into this 6-inch pot. And then we just want to make sure that we get soil all the way around. This is the little calancho that all of this fell off when I moved it. And as you can see, the stalk on this, there's no roots alive. The stalk is dead. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this little 4-inch container and we're going to fill it to the top with soil, and then we're going to take just a little cutting. We have a little node at the end. I've made a little hole with my finger. I stick it in and cover it up. Now in addition, these too can be made into cuttings. So you can see this little stalk is dead. I'm going to break it off, and then I'm going to make another little hole, a little bit more soil, and firm it into the container. We have one left, and it's this Hedrahelix, or an variegated English ivy. And you can see some of it had already rooted back around on the other side of the container. But we're going to put this one back into a container that doesn't have holes in it, but we're going to be very careful about the amount of water that we give it. And remember that water will stand at the bottom of the container and it can be bone dry at the top. So you have to make sure that you fill the soil and make sure it's thoroughly dry before you water. A little bit of soil in the bottom. We put our ivy in. See this little bit that was growing on the side? I'm just going to settle it in. And then fill it with soil. And these plants will thrive. As I said, south window is where you'll get most of the sun that you'll need and make a beautiful interior plant. And remember, plants grow in spite of us, not because of us. And if you'll just give them a little bit of water, a little bit of fertilizer, they'll grow on for you too.